What's up? So I'm doing a little bit of a different video today. I think I've said that quite a few times in the past. I'm trying to mix up my videos a little bit, so bear with me. I get asked what kind of lens I'm using, what kind of camera I'm using when I either take pictures for my Instagram like these, or I will get asked what kind of camera I film with to film my videos. So I am going to do kind of an open bag or an open camera bag type of video to show you guys what kind of equipment I'm working with, and also let you guys know what areas I feel a little more experienced in than others. So I started out dabbling in photography when I was about 17 or 18 years old. I think 18. So I'm 32, so do the math. 14 years, wow, that took me too long. So I've been dabbling in photography for about 14 years. I started out with a Nikon film camera that looked a little something like this. Wasn't exactly like this, but you get the picture. Film was so much different than what photography is today. You would take a picture, so excited about how you thought it was gonna turn out, and you would not get to see what it looked like until after you got the film developed. I give a lot of credit to whatever skill I have developed over the last 14 years to starting out in film, so we'll start there. Next, I went to a Nikon D50, and this D50 was a really, really hard camera to learn on. In my opinion, if anyone is ever starting out with photography or wants to at least kind of sharpen their skills in that area, I don't know if people would agree or disagree. Obviously, I'm gonna have people who do both, but I would never suggest starting out with Nikon, or I would suggest starting out at Nikon, depending upon how you're looking at it. So if you want to just kind of learn what you can as fast as you can, I would not start out with Nikon. If you really want to learn the ins and outs of a camera, why something does what it does, how you want to get this effect, that effect, Nikon will do that. Nikon was very, very hard, and there was a steep learning curve, but that's all I knew. That's what I started out on. So then I went to the D50, which I actually still have that camera. I don't know where it's at, to tell you the truth, but I still have it. So after my D50, I went to the Nikon D90. This is a tank of a camera. This is huge, it's heavy. The time that I got the D90, it was about as good as you could get it. I got it probably close to a decade ago, and I wore the crap out of this camera. I used it for everything. The first little videos I ever made, I made on this Nikon D90. The specs compared to cameras that are out now today aren't that great. I got this as a college graduation gift. I took all the money I got and I bought a Nikon D90. Good camera, again, to sharpen my skills on continuously, but really, really hard to learn and navigate. So the camera oh my gosh, wow, I was just looking for it. I'm literally talking into it. So the camera I have now, I will show you real quick. I will switch to my iPhone and I will show you the camera I have right now. So hold on just a second. So the camera I have now is a Canon T6i, and I love this camera. It's super, super easy to navigate. And when I switched to Canon, which was a pretty big deal for me because all I have ever known was Nikon. I have a Nikon flash, Nikon lenses, so everything I had was for Nikon. So switching to Canon was a pretty big deal. I would go as far as calling it a very, very good camera for beginners or anyone who's just starting out, wants to kind of learn the ins and outs of the camera without, you know, going into the freaking science of it, which I feel like Nikon does. So it comes with a kit lens. This is what I keep my lenses in. I hate carrying a camera bag because they're so huge. Like, this is my Nikon camera bag right here. It's actually a Canon bag, but this is what I used to carry my Nikon camera, and it's just very inconvenient for carrying around. So this is what I carry these in. It can snap on your backpack right here, which is usually what I carry, a backpack. This has a kind of like a crushed velvet inside to keep your lens all nice and clean if you don't have a cap on it. This is the kit lens that it comes with. It's a great, great lens. It's an 18 to 55. Does a lot of what you need, a lot of what I just normally shoot and don't want any kind of effects or anything like that with my pictures or my video. This is what I always go to, the kit lens. It can hold its own and it does the job, and I have never had a problem with it. The lens that you're looking at right now is a 10 to 18. It is a wide angle lens, and this is what I use most of the time when I'm either filming a lot of myself or I'm at a car event or something like that. The only bad thing about this lens is if you try and do photography with it, especially automotive, and you're doing, like, let's say a head-on shot, a completely horizontal shot, it distorts the subject. So it's gonna make it look curved,
because it does have that wide angle. But for vlogging or anything of that sort, it's an excellent lens because you don't have to have the longest arms in the world to get yourself in the shot. And it's just really convenient having a wide angle with that kind of stuff. Last but not least, I will pick up my newest lens, which is the Nifty 50. And this is one of the first lenses that people usually purchase when they purchase a DSLR. This is the Nifty 50, the 50mm lens. The one thing I will say about this lens, and the only downfall that I've found so far about this lens, is that with any kind of camera that has a crop sensor or automatically crops, this is almost used as, and I will put this in like layman's terms, almost like a zoom lens. So you have to stand 20-25 feet back from your subject if you want it all in frame. Otherwise, it's super close in shots. But I'll show you a shot right here that this lens produces. It's super easy to use, and you can always do this kind of stuff in post, but why do it in post when you can get it, you know, first off? That's kind of my philosophy. All right, so it's super dark in here because I have this ring light on, which the ring light is something I use when I'm doing any kind of story time, whatever, in front of the camera, not moving, in order to get some good light. Otherwise, I sit in front of my window that has natural light, which obviously cannot be beat by any kind of man-made light. Natural light's always the way to go in my opinion, but this is for use whenever it's dark outside, like I'm filming right now, it's dark. And I obviously don't have my window at my exposed to use. Okay, so the next thing that I use, and this is probably one of the most important tools to my kit, is my hard drive. So I have a Seagate 1TB hard drive. I've almost filled this sucker up, and a lot of it is videos from my editing software. I was just constantly running into the issue of having to clear space on my computer and stuff like that. It got really old. So I purchased this probably a year and a half, year ago, and it has saved my life. Next is my MacBook Pro that I use to edit. Also keep a my other MacBook Pro hooked up to a monitor, a bigger monitor. So if I want more detail, be able to see more detail when I'm editing or filming or anything like that, I use that. Its battery life sucks. So that's why it just completely stays plugged in almost constantly. On this, the actual programs that I use Final Cut Pro. Editing photos, I use Adobe Lightroom, and I also use Adobe Photoshop. I use Adobe Lightroom 9 times out of 10. Photoshop I use for kind of odds and ends things that I do to my pictures. I don't use it often. Huge fan of presets. I find no pride in creating my own presets or creating my own editing touches to pictures. I find the pride in photo that I capture. I use a lot of Peter McKinnon's presets. I use a kid named Justin Escalona's preset sometimes, but Peter McKinnon's what I usually use for not only the presets that I use in Lightroom, but also the LUTs that I use in Final Cut Pro. If you've ever used Final Cut Pro, you know what I'm talking about. If not, that's probably a foreign word, so just forget I said anything about it. Yeah, that's it. That's what's in my camera bag, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.